Hello and welcome to Differentiating Math Instruction for Special Education Students. You know your students struggle. You know they're way behind in math, but do you know their gaps? Knowing what they don't know is the key to helping them quickly. Trouble is, each special education student is unique, with different gaps at different grade levels. Ascend Math was created to directly address this problem.
The thing is with my students is they're kind of like a leaky bucket. Okay, so you don't know what they know and don't know, and there's no way that I could sit down and assess all of them, especially when they're anywhere from 2nd to 8th grade level like they are. I couldn't sit down and figure out exactly where their gaps are, and what Ascend does is it'll give them a quick pre-test and say, okay, do you have this skill? If they have it, then they move on to the next thing. They aren't stuck, oh, we got to go through this anyway. It moves them right along. You know, and the thing is it's surprising is like they'll know one thing, and I'm like, when did you learn that? Because, you know, it's been, 10 years since you've been in 2nd grade, but then they'll get to the next thing and they'll be like, Ms. Lakin, I have no clue what this is. And then they go through the process of going through the module. And it's really great for them because it doesn't force them to do things over and over that they know.
Using Ascend Math, students fill in the gaps, starting with the earliest and working through a sequence study plan working only on what they don't know. Let me show you how it works. First, every student in Ascend takes a level recommendation test. This adaptive assessment adjusts to each individual student. The test increases or decreases difficulty based upon the student's responses. Each test is unique, just as each student is unique. The result is educators know where every special education student needs to begin instruction. Now, when a student first logs into Ascend, there are no lessons in his plan. The student takes a short pre-assessment built around like objectives, allowing him to show what he does know. His lesson plan fills with the objectives he does not know. The student then begins the first lesson. Completing the interactive instruction and activities, the student takes a post-assessment. Passing this assessment, the student moves on to the next lesson in his plan. When the lessons are completed, the student will again take a brief pre-assessment, building his lesson plan to the next stage. Best of all, these lessons are automatically assigned. Here's a representative sample of pre-assessment results. Note the students at different levels all working on different skill gaps. Purple means they passed the pre-assessment for the objective, blue means they did not pass, and that objective will need to be included in the individual sequence study plan. Teachers do not need to assign these. They will be assigned automatically, and at any time a teacher wants to change it, she can do that for any student for any objective. Let's take a look at what the student sees now. This is what the student sees when he first enters his program. He will find what units he's already completed in these flags and which one he's working on now. Elementary multiplication. This student's next objective is the concept of perimeter and area models connected to addition. He'll start the lesson. Print out the study guide unless his teacher has pre-printed study guides in the classroom. He'll do the first two problems along with
During
the
this
video
lesson,
instructor.
We'll explore how to find area and perimeter using an area model. For this exercise,
Ascend Math
we'll use
uses
a tiling
only master
strategy.
educators.
Maria wants to use square tiles to find the area of a rectangle.
Each lesson is interactive, ensuring that the student remains engaged. How many rectangles do we see on the bottom? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The student will need to enter that before moving on in the instruction.
Rectangle is 7 tiles along the bottom and 3 tiles along the
Now,
side.
once the student has gone
What
through
is
the
the
video,
area
and
of
he
the
can pause it, replay it,
We will answer these
it is also
questions
closed
using a
captioned
tiling
and in
strategy.
Spanish.
In tiling,
And once he has
place the
completed
number
his
of
study
tiles
guide and all
across
the
the
problems, he
bottom
can
and
move on
along
to
the
an exploration. This is always another way of looking at that same lesson to help the student understand it. Almost always a virtual manipulative or something similar. And we ask for areas and perimeters here. Once the students completed the exploration, and they find this very enjoyable, they move on to a practice test. Even here, if the student still doesn't completely understand, there is very often an
Yolanda
individual
is building an
solution
area
video
model that is
right
8
down to that
tiles
practice
across
problem.
and 4 tiles down. Draw Yolanda's area model. So we need a rectangle that's 8 tiles across and 4 tiles down.
With all of this help, the student should be ready for the post-assessment. It will unlock, but only at this point. Once the student passes it, he will see the next time that his climber has moved up the mountain. We ask that students work 1.5 to 2 hours each week at a minimum in Ascend. And there are many ways that teachers have divided up this work, this time to make it work. But how much time does it take the teacher? Little more than a few minutes, a few times a week to monitor progress. Remember that the lessons are automatically assigned. This is the teacher dashboard. Mr. Hillary's class, he has all his classes in here, can look at pertinent data for them, and go into an individual classroom dashboard for that particular class. Here he can see the activity from last week, how far his students have progressed from their starting levels to their current levels, how the students currently are mixed, what levels they're working on, which students are working on which levels, and how many levels have been completed. Even more critical is the live student tracker, which gives him real-time data on which objective each student is currently working on, the number of attempts made to pass the objective, and the next objective automatically assigned. I want to show you one more piece of data, although there are a lot of reports in Ascend. In special education, as you know, it's very important to keep parents apprised of student progress. The course progress report is an excellent one to share with them. Here they will see the objectives that their student has mastered in the course, those that they've mastered in the pre-assessment, and those that are still assigned. They'll see a pre-assessment score and a post-assessment score, the time they're spending on the task, and even the time they've spent on the post-assessment. I want you to hear from Kristen Lakin one more time.
I have the data. You know, everything in education today is about data, data, data. You constantly hear it. And anybody can walk into my room, you give me 5 minutes, I can show you data that this is where they were, this is where they are. And for me as a teacher, to be able to pull it that quickly and be able to show people this is how it's working, that's really important on the teacher side of things. Everything, evidence, evidence, data, data, those are the constant buzzwords in education, and it's there. I don't have to go and figure out how am I going to get this, how am I going to get this, it's already there.
Let's take a look at what some other schools have done in their special education classes with Ascend Math. Fort Stockton Middle School did not begin using Ascend Math until midway through the year in January. But with just that last half of the year, their state test results greatly surpassed their goals in all categories, including special education students. You can see the results here. They expected a goal of 75% and 86% passed. The following year, Fort Stockton went from not making AYP to the highest math performance of any middle school or junior high in their region. Now, Grissom Middle School also did not make AYP in the category of special education. After just 5 months using Ascend, 80% of special ed students grew 1 or more grade levels, while 56% grew 2 or more grade levels. Incoming students at Calcasieu Parish were unprepared for the rigorous math curriculum offered in high school. Listen to Dr. Betty Washington explain what happened.
So I looked at a program, I looked for a program that would identify skill gaps in math. Because of those schools, we did have students that just couldn't move from second grade level, or third grade level, or fourth grade level. My high school students are very vocal and they waste no time in telling me, I don't want to do that because I already know how to do it, don't make me do this. So I wanted a program that would identify just what that student needed help with. Our high school exit results and our GED, and I want you to know this math was our weakest area. Almost 80% successfully passed their GED.
Educators at Crosby identified those students who had not passed the state test for multiple years. These included many special ed students. Gains came quickly. You could see the 2-week mark here. Best of all, 38% passed the state test for the first time in more than 2 years. Ascend Math works for special ed students because it reaches down to their lowest skill gaps, focuses on what they don't know, and gives them a prescribed study plan specifically for them.
And then this, for me, has been, it's been almost a revelation because I can meet all my students' needs, and it's not a struggle for me or them. It makes the process enjoyable for everybody. And we see such amazing gains. And they can see it because the graphs and stuff that the programs produce, they can understand them. Even with all the disabilities and all the things that we deal with, they can see, I was here, now I'm here. You know, they can see that. It's simple enough for them to understand, oh, I'm making progress. I've went from a level 2 to a level 4 in math.
Thank you for joining us. Please contact us. Check out our website, give us a call, tell us what your individual needs and goals are, and let us help you. Thank you very much for watching.